We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SloopCast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
You know, I think we're all good over here. We're gonna do an ASKSloopCast right off the top. Let's go ahead and say that we're recording this a few days early because of some business travel. So, in case anything changes over the weekend, we're ignorant of it. We're normally kind of ignorant, but in this case, we have an excuse. All right, Kyle, it is Ask Sloopcast time. Do you have the questions up? Do you have any place you'd like to start?
I do. Let's just start from the top here, Jared. All right. Let's see. We have one from Holly Sal.
Holy
Ohio-
Sal.
Holy.
I assume
Sal.
so.
That works too. All right.
Yeah.
Ohio State's game days.
Context on this one. This is in response to me asking if you're what's an unpopular opinion regarding Ohio State or college football?
Yeah. And they said Ohio State's game day experience and home field advantage are overrated.
So, two thoughts on this. One, it's kind of impossible for northern schools to compete with the southern schools in regards to tailgates just because of weather, because of temperatures and all that. So, if we're talking about game day experience in that regard, yeah. The weather is prohibitive. The temperatures are prohibitive. That's just the way that is. Now, as far as home field advantage, here's the thing. It is when it's your team, you see the stadium at its best and its worst. You know how everyone knows how dead the shoe can be if you're up against Akron at noon. But do you think the Florida games or the Bama games are any better when they're playing an FCS school at noon?
In the middle of November.
November, September, doesn't matter. Do you actually think that they're any better? Because they aren't. You are only watching the Alabama game, the Florida game, when they're playing Georgia, LSU, whatever, right? And when Ohio State has Penn State or Michigan or whomever in town, the shoe's going. You see, it's your team, so you see it at its worst and at its best. That's it. But as far as the tailgate stuff goes, yeah. It's northern schools just are going to have a hard time competing because of weather. It's reality.
Of course. All right. Let's get into some other questions here. All right, next question here. We have our good friend Austin. What percentage chance do you give Ohio State to win the Big Ten? Okay, this was in the beginning of February when he asked this.
Is it any better? Is it actually any better or any worse? Has your opinion changed in a month? 3 weeks?
What's your percentage chance to give Ohio State to win the Big Ten and get an auto bid to the NCAA tournament? I'll say 5%.
I think
that's being generous.
Yeah, that's generous. That's generous. That's very generous. I mean, give them 20 chances, they do it once. I don't think so. I do not think so.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's not 0. But it's closer to 0 than it is 5. Yeah, it's give them 1,000 chances, they do it twice is where I'm at, Austin says. I think that's a little tough, but it's like 1%.
That's 0.5%.
Yeah.
All right. Odin has a couple of questions here. Would you be worried as a GM if a potential QB says they mirror their style close to Vic and Watson?
Which is what CJ Stroud said at his press conference at the Combine. Please note that he says his style. Not
Yes.
his on-field style. You really have to acknowledge that that's specifically what he was talking about. That being said, is it a smart answer? No, it's not. You're specifically referencing two people who had serious, I mean, at the very least, serious accusations and serious suspensions from the NFL.
Yep.
So you do have to if you're CJ Stroud, you have to do better with that question. That's not where you want to go, especially when one of the teams potentially drafting you are the Houston Texans. Like, that's probably not what the ownership in Houston wants to hear. But it really can't be. It can't be overlooked. It can't be ignored that he was specifically talking about, like, stylistic plays. Unless you don't want to be a Houston Texan, he's playing chess, not checkers. They're a worse place to end up than Houston.
Yeah.
They're a worse place to end up for sure.
All right,
I
another
don't think
question
there
from-
are. No, there's absolutely worse places than Houston. I'm not saying that they're in the top half, but I could name 5 places I'd less want to play.
Yeah.
Also, Vic was a beast besides the IRL fuck-ups. Here, Vic, to me, was a better highlight machine than he was an NFL quarterback. All of his running got him hurt too often. He wasn't available at the end of seasons a lot.
He wasn't all that accurate, too.
He was not. He's a big, strong-arm quarterback, but he was not good at dissecting defenses. His accuracy was okay at times, not super precision. He relied too much on his running.
Yeah.
He played in a different NFL time. Not really. He played in the same time as Vic, or excuse me, he is Vic, as Manning and as... Don't be silly. I'm not being silly. He played in the same NFL as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Brett Favre. Let's not be silly here. I'm not being silly. He's a better highlight player than he was an actual quarterback. He's great. He's great on SportsCenter, but that doesn't necessarily win football games.
Yeah. Odin has a question about. He wants to know how far will Carter drop, and he means Jalen Carter, the Georgia player who, potentially in a lot of trouble here after wrecking his car, killing people.
Well,
and
let's not say he killed someone. I think that's an overstatement. He was involved in a street race in which people died.
Mm-hmm.
And he left the scene of the accident. So there's nuance there. I think everyone probably remembers it wasn't that long ago. Georgia, I think it was a couple Georgia football players died. There was an administrative person there as well. As it turns out, Jalen Carter was involved in that they were out racing, driving recklessly together. He'll get drafted, though. His stock definitely dropped a tad, Zach says. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the taddiest of tads. The tad. I don't. He's insanely big. He's insanely fast for his size. And there'll be a team, and it only takes one team to be like, well, he just left the scene of an accident. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm saying there'll be an organization who's too in love with his size-speed combination and will pull the trigger.
Yeah.
They will justify it as not that bad.
Not that bad by driving over 100 miles an hour, over 2 times the alcohol concentration than the legal limit is for the state of Georgia. Yeah. Sure.
Someone will justify it. I'm not saying I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're correct in justifying it. I'm saying he's insanely big and insanely fast for his speed. He is a different type of athlete, and someone will justify it.
But to answer the question, how far? Not as far as it should. He should.
I still think he was a guy who was talked about as top 5, and now he might drop out of the top 10 a bit.
Yeah.
And it's really just a bit. Right. I'd be shocked if he goes into the 20s.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next question here from our good friend.
Gangland?
From Gangland here. JSN no run 40. What is he hiding?
This is asked tongue-in-cheek, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has a hamstring issue. If you can't run your best 40, don't run the 40. Period.
Yeah.
And even if he is maybe now capable of running the 40, he hasn't been training. He hasn't been capable of training his 40 the way everyone else has been.
All he's going to do is be hurting himself.
Yeah, and you do risk re-injury.
Well, both re-injuring and also hurting his stock too.
Yes. And again, like, these guys train for months to get 1/10 of a second off of their 40 time. He wasn't capable of doing that. It's a no-win situation. All JSN has to do is say, look at my tape.
Yeah. So what's he hiding? He's trying to protect his stock draft. That's all it is.
Trying to protect his hamstring.
Yeah. All right. Buckeye Zach in the chat here has a few questions. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, 1 at worst, where would you rank the atrocious B-ball team?
I mean, this is legitimately the worst Ohio State basketball team
in a very long time.
So by Ohio State standards, it's a 1.
Yes. It's
Holtmann's worst team. It's worse than any Thad Matta team. Worse since 98, Zach says. That sounds about right, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the last time they've had a worse record than they do right now was the 97-98 season, where they went 8-22 and were 1-15 in conference.
So if you're the worst Ohio State basketball team in over 20 years,
and that was Jim O'Brien's first year.
Yeah. In well over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be? 25 years.
So yeah, I mean, at first I was going to answer this at 2, but no, Jared, you're absolutely right. Like, worst record in 25 years. This will be only the second time that Ohio State, and unless they go on a huge win streak here,
They
this is
have
the
looked
first time that
better,
they
not good,
yeah,
better.
this will be the first time since the 2003-2004 season, first time that they'll be going under 500.
Yeah.
All right.
What's with Lee's
What's with
hate
the
on?
Lee hate on Harrison? Discuss. I'll be honest. I've been out of social media a lot, so I'm curious on what this is about.
Darren Lee decided to attack Zach Harrison on social media for not living up to the hype.
Okay.
It's a weird look from Darren Lee. I'm not going to sit here and psychoanalyze Darren Lee. I know he has voiced frustration from the standpoint in the past, from the standpoint of like he's mad that Ohio State hasn't won a national title since he won a national title. That he's mad that the defense sucks. Just say it. Yeah, okay. But you can say the defense sucks without personally attacking one individual on the defense. That's the issue here. You want to call it the coaching, you want to call it the defense as a whole, go for it. Do it. We've all been doing that. He has every right to do it as well. Why are you attacking specifically Zach Harrison in the weeks, months leading up to the combine? You are potentially costing the man money. Why now? Why are you doing it now? If you wanted to motivate him, if you wanted to call him out, why are you doing it now and not last year or during the season? Why now? Again, I'm not going to psychoanalyze, not publicly anyway, Darren Lee, but I think there's frustration there on his part.
Yeah.
It's because he said he wouldn't participate combine-wise. It's a grown frustration. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I understand that, but again, that's like your brotherhood there. Why are you attacking him in the months leading up to the draft?
Interesting. Zach Harrison, apparently he's doing pretty well in the combine right now, Jared. I'm just kind of reading up right now.
Sure, go ahead.
25 presses at 225 pounds.
That's good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. And he has the longest arm span of any defensive lineman in the NFL scouting combine since 2014 at 36 and a quarter inches.
Yeah, no, he's incredibly talented. He played in some schematically terrible defenses at Ohio State.
Yes.
And again, why Darren Lee chooses to attack one person on a defense of many people in the months leading up to the combine, potentially costing Zach Harrison money, is beyond me. We have other questions to get to, though, Kyle.
Yep, sure. All right. Would Aaron Kraft be a good head coach? What could be any worse than Chris Holtmann?
You gotta do better on the nicknames. That's just lazy. I mean, could Aaron Kraft be a good head coach? Yeah. But
maybe.
It doesn't.
I think Aaron Kraft has the making to be a decent head coach.
Yeah.
Right?
What is he doing right now, though? You don't go from no coaching experience to coaching Ohio State.
That's a good question. I'm not sure what Mr.
Playing in Europe, I think. Regardless, if he wants to start a coaching career, get some experience, then we can talk. Then we can talk. You don't go straight from the Euro Leagues as a player to the head coach at Ohio State. That's not how that works. And I know, by the way, that I recently said on the podcast that LeBron James could be the coach if he wanted to be, but that's LeBron James. Shut up. Recruiting alone. LeBron James becomes your head coach, and I said that tongue in cheek for what it's worth. I mean, he could be worse. Yeah, no. Chris Holtmann's not done a good job at Ohio State. They should replace him. But it can be worse. Make no mistake, it can get a lot worse than Chris Holtmann.
Soon to be Jared, Dr. Kraft.
There you go. Soon to be Dr. Kraft. At Ohio State, I don't think it can. Yeah, no, it absolutely can. It absolutely can. 100%. It can be a lot worse.
Yep.
Ohio State basketball is not an invincible beast.
All right, let's see here. We got Austin with some more things here, Jared. He says basketball, NFL, combine.
That was my prompt.
Okay. Of the viable options, which team is best for Justin Fields to go to? Do you mean CJ Stroud?
Did you mean to say CJ Stroud, Austin?
I'm going to assume he meant CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say I don't think Chicago is walking away from Justin Fields anytime soon. Indy? No. Indy's sorry, Austin. I'd much rather go to the Houston organization than the Indianapolis organization. Indianapolis would be. You are absolutely insane. You're not seeing past your home team bias. Well, yeah, I don't think New England's going to be in position, Zach. I'm not even saying Indy. Just not Houston. They're fucking terrible. Okay.
Well, the problem is that he's probably going to go to a terrible team right now. So
that's how that works. Yeah.
That's how the draft works.
That is how that works. It's rare that a really good team has a really bad season and then drafts a quarterback. It happens. It has happened.
So let's see here. Chicago picks first. No.
They'll probably Houston trade out, but whatever.
Yeah. Houston picks second.
Not a great situation.
Arizona, they got Kyler Murray there.
That is a perennial. That's just a terrible organization and always has been.
The Cardinals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Indianapolis Colts.
Again, remove the Peyton Manning years. It's a terrible organization. I'm not saying I like Houston. I'm saying you can do worse organizationally.
Maybe Seattle.
Seattle's not bad.
I think Seattle might be the choice, might be the answer here.
Austin, the Cardinals are a worse organization. The Browns are a worse organization. The Raiders, I'll say it, are a worse organization. I think the Colts are a worse organization. I know you don't want to hear that. But you remove the Manning years, and they are what they are. The Jets are a terrible organization. I quite frankly wouldn't want to fuck around with the Cowboys. I know that's a weird take, but I don't think good coaches want to play for Jerry Jones. And I think that's they're a successful organization that's also highly dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I think you can do worse as far as organizations go.
So let's see the teams. So Texans would be looking for a quarterback. Colts would be. Seattle would be. Detroit, I believe, may.
That's a worse organization than Houston.
Yeah. The Raiders wouldn't be. Would the Falcons be looking for a quarterback? I don't know.
The Raiders would be, wouldn't they?
I didn't think so. I thought they had
No. He
Carr.
left. He left. He's gone.
Ah, okay.
Kyle's been preoccupied with the baby over the past couple months. Anything that's happened in the NFL since December. Whew.
All right. So the Raiders, the Falcons. I don't remember who the Falcons have. The Panthers.
Nobody.
Yeah, the Panthers would be another team that would be looking for quarterbacks as well.
Austin, I'm talking about long spread organizational success.
Yeah, Carolina is not good either.
Yeah.
Not a good run organization.
No. I don't like any of these options. They're all here for a reason.
No. I honestly think maybe the best option is maybe Seattle.
Probably.
I'm going to go with Seattle.
I would say that was probably his best choice.
All right. Next question here, Jared. Who will be the guy that we see photos of after winter workouts into the spring and go, oh shit, he's huge?
Typically you see that jump freshman to sophomore. Sonny Styles is a good answer. I think Zach beat us to it.
Yeah, that is a great answer.
I think that's probably the winning answer. That freshman to sophomore jump, add in the fact that he's younger than your average sophomore. I think Zach, I really don't appreciate that you jumped on the correct answer right away and ruined this for Kyle and I, but you're just too right here. You're a little too right, a little too quickly I forgive you though.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer. That's straight up the answer.
Yeah. I think so. I'm trying to think of another player that might be better than that, but no. I think you're right. All right. What two players on the Buckeye team on different sides of the ball are best friends?
Two players on the Buckeye team on different sides of the ball are best friends. This doesn't feel like an opinion question. This feels like who's the Tyvis Powell, Cardell Jones of the current roster? I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I'm just looking at the roster here, and
do we have a list of roommates?
Yeah, I cannot.
Do we
find
have
that.
a list of roommates? Is that listed on the Ohio State website? I don't know. Is there an actual answer to this one, Austin? Or was this supposed to be kind of goofy and open-ended? I'm not sure what you were going for in this one. Just goofy?
It says goofy. You know, on opposite ends.
Yeah, opposite position, opposite offense, defense.
I'll
Austin
go with,
has sources.
I do. I will go a fan favorite in the Sloop Cats here. Great first name, by the way. I'll go with McCord. He says the answer is Evan Pryor and Jack Sawyer, by the way, and that is obvious.
Is it? Is that obvious?
I was going to say McCord and Burke, but
I feel like there's a correct answer as far as like McCord and Harrison, but of course they're both on the offensive side of the ball. The quarterback, the wide receiver played together in high school, all of that, but that's not the question.
Yeah.
It feels weird to say like Marvin Harrison and pick a cornerback because they probably aren't best friends. I don't know. I feel like I should be coming up with a clever answer here. I don't think I have one. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on. We'll move on to the next question here. Which of Ohio State's Big Ten East games will be toughest this year, bearing Penn State and Michigan? Big Ten East. So you're talking about. I mean, that
Michigan State,
Maryland, Rutgers, and Indiana,
and Michigan State,
and Sparty.
God,
Sparty,
I guess.
Last year, Jared, we were sitting here last year about like, man, Sparty's that unknown. They could be good. They could be terrible, and
it turned out not to be very good.
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes for any of those teams. I don't like Indiana right now. I do like the general direction both Maryland and Rutgers are moving in, but they're growing slow. Yeah. I think they're moving in the correct direction. I think it's tough sledding for them. They're doing what they can.
Growing slow. I like how slow growing Bryce Young is.
Ayo. Yeah, I don't see any of those teams right now as like a legitimate threat to the top three in the Big East. The Big East.
If you're going to tell me which one,
if
you're going to tell me like which one would be like the toughest game,
probably Sparty. But
I'm probably going to get hate here, but I'm going to go the very first game here at Indiana, because the other games is home to Maryland, at Rutgers, and home to Sparty. I'll go with at Indiana being the very first game of the season.
Maybe they're overlooking them. Maybe they're thinking about Notre Dame.
New quarterback. Yeah.
That's a good answer. Kyle, I'll change my answer. I think Kyle's right.
All right.
Simply because they're overlooking them. They have some player turnover. More circumstance than a compliment to Indiana.
Yep. We kind of talked about Zach Harrison already here. What number receiver will JSN be off the board?
Will he be? I don't know if I buy all of the JSN. I don't know what word to use here. Hate feels like the wrong word to use, but I feel like there's some intentional downselling being done by teams to try and get him to fall to them. If I'm being honest, I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there's the number that's sticking in my mind is 3.
I think that's probably about right. I'm telling you though, I still wouldn't be shocked to see it be number 1. He's still the number 1 wide receiver I'd take. The hamstring issue doesn't scare me off at all.
Yeah.
I would not be like, oh my God, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. Okay, it was all smokescreen. Because it's kind of what I think a lot of the negative discourse around JSN right now are GMs trying to tank his stock in hopes to get him.
All right. Will DeJuan Jones be a first rounder, second or third or later?
Um, well, I think we'll see what the mocks say now that we're sort of post combine, or we will be post combine very soon. Um, I don't think he's a first rounder.
No.
I don't think he's a good enough at the NFL level. I don't think he'll be a good enough pass blocker to be considered a left tackle in the NFL. You have to be like a shutdown, pass blocking left tackle to get a first round pick in the NFL. To be guaranteed a first round pick in the NFL as a tackle.
Yep.
If they're looking at you as a right tackle from the very beginning, not we'll see if you can play left tackle, but then we'll move him to right tackle if it doesn't work out at left. No, everyone's just like, he's a right tackle, potentially a guard. I've seen some people want to move him into guard. I don't think so. I think he's a right tackle through and through.
All right.
Second, I'll go with second round.
Yeah, I honestly think it's going to be third or later here. All right, I'll answer this question, Jared. I'll be right back here. Besides the Saints and the Bengals, which NFL team do you associate with drafting Buckeyes?
The Bengals, I feel like have picked up a lot of their guys, a lot of their Ohio State guys through free agency. Although that has at least changed somewhat in recent years. But I feel like a lot of Ohio State guys have found like second or third homes in Cincinnati and not necessarily being drafted by Cincinnati. The Saints are obviously a good answer. Carolina's done it a lot. I'm having a hard time getting past the Saints. There was a point in time in which Pittsburgh drafted a lot of Buckeyes, although that has not been as true as of late. I'd be interested to see like the recent number breakdowns on this, because I'm honestly not sure. Again, the Saints are the obvious answer here. I don't know. Austin, Zach, do you have any thoughts on this one? Because I got nothing. I mean, I don't have nothing. I have more general musings than a correct answer. You don't know? Okay. I thought maybe you
Yeah,
may have
I
had
feel like the Jets.
Garrett Wilson, obviously. Who else in recent years?
I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Lineman.
Well,
What's that?
Mangold, but Mangold, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, but yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'd be interested to see the actual numbers on that, but I don't think we're gonna look that up live on the podcast.
Yep.
Austin
right,
asks, "Is Holtmann fired yet?" I'll tune back in when he is.
Yeah.
I might have butchered that name, but Norwell was a Jet. Yeah, there it is, Norwell. There is an R in there.
All right. Over under 39.5% chance Bronny commits to Ohio State.
Under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well.
It's not drastically under that, but it is under that.
Because I just think there's a lot of options. Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of options that he could go to here.
Yeah, and just why would a top flight recruit pick Ohio State right now?
Yeah, that's true.
And Ohio State is in his top 3. I know.
Okay, but how much of that has dropped right now after seeing this year?
And how much of that is, and like I get that he doesn't live in Ohio right now.
But how much does he really?
How much of that is the kid from Indiana leaving the Indiana hat on the table right next to the Ohio State and Penn State hat when we all know he's not going to Indiana? how much of that is the kid from South Carolina with a hat, South Carolina, but also here's a Bama hat and a Georgia hat and an Ohio State hat. You know what I mean? Like, we all know he's not going to be a Gamecock. How is that Ohio State for Bronny right now?
Maybe. Who is your dream 2024 recruit for Ohio State to land that is a realistic choice?
I don't have my recruiting stuff up right now. I'm blanking on his name. Maybe I can get my crap, I can't think of his name. Someone help me out here. He's the quarterback. Ohio State had two quarterback guys who they both really liked. The one guy was, ever since Ohio State had a guy, he leaves. But then the other guy has been flirting with Michigan for a while. I cannot think of his name. Who's the guy? Jaden Davis.
Yes.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you. Quarterback Jaden Davis. Not only do you resecure the quarterback position after losing the top player in the top player on the recruiting boards, but you're also keeping that quarterback away from Michigan. So I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, actually, he's a quality. He's actually a cusp on the 5-star right now. He moved up. He's 24th nationally right now. So
and Ohio State liked him as much as
star.
Ohio State liked him as much as they liked Raiola. It was just a situation where it was like, which one do you guys want to commit first? Raiola committed.
Yeah.
And hopefully Ohio State can
recover,
what may have been tarnished in that relationship.
Yep.
And regain some space and pick up Jaden Davis. I want Ohio State to get KJ Bolden. I think he is a perfect fit for the Ohio State defense. I agree. I 100. Why is Jim Harbaugh in the chat right now? I agree, Austin. I totally agree. But championships are won by. Excuse me. Championships are won by quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a 5-star quarterback, you get the 5-star quarterback.
Yeah.
I also want Josiah Trader. Yeah. I don't think we need to use magic to get Josiah Trader, though. I don't think we need to, or any magic beyond our standard recruiting on Josiah Trader.
Yep. All right, this one I like, Jared. Make your best team of 5 Buckeye Bucks. Make your best team of 5 basket Bucks from the Thad/Holt era to win a 5v5 tournament.
Okay.
I got mine in their best as a Buckeye. Again, as a Buckeye.
Yeah. I think the first pick's a no-brainer.
What's that?
The first pick's a no-brainer.
Which one's that?
One is Ohio State. In that entire, who's the best center? Who's basically the only NBA talent? What's that?
You got to put Odin in there. Yep, Odin.
That's pick number 1.
That's pick number 1. Pick number 2. I got to put maybe like Evan Turner. I think Evan Turner, just such a game changer there.
If we're going in order, I take Mike Conley first.
I would pick. I would have Odin, Turner, Conley, Solinger, and Leidy. Those would be my 5. Kraft would be the sixth man for me, Austin.
I
But we
don't.
can't also forget about like D'Angelo Russell is in there as well. Terrence Dials, Buford.
What Austin said. Kraft doesn't need to score in this offense. I think if you're actually trying to not just pick the best 5 players, but actually put together a starting 5, I think you need Kraft in that lineup. Someone who's going to play incredible defense and distribute the ball to the other guys to score points.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to be Kraft. I think it absolutely you surround to make this like the 90s Bulls, right? You need a Ron Harper on that team. Aaron Kraft is your Ron Harper, someone who's just going to distribute the ball and play solid defense. Not even solid defense, elite defense from both Ron Harper and Kraft. I didn't think I was going to compare Aaron Kraft to Ron Harper today, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Kraft was your second choice after Odin. Now that's a little silly.
Yeah. But I would stick with mine. Odin, Turner, Conley, Sullinger, Lighty. That's my 5.
Yeah. Odin's pick 1-1.
Yes.
I think that's a no-brainer. Power forward, Sullinger. Don't really need a... I'm going to take Mike Conley as my shooting guard. Aaron Kraft is my point guard. And then I think I'll just have a third guard. And it's going to be like David Lighty starting, but we're going to get a decent amount of Diebler. Like Diebler's my 6th guy coming in for Lighty.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sort of playing that guard sort of, it's that sort of a flex guard, small forward sort of position.
Yep.
I think that's my starting 5.
Yep.
All right, Kyle, is that our last question?
That is it. That is it, Jared.
Where does Daquan Cook fit in? We forget Deshaun Thomas. These are all good players, but if I'm crafting a 5, they're not in the 5.
Someone who had like outstanding talent that we didn't get to see much of just because of all the other talent that was around him.
Slam Thompson.
What about KK?
Yeah.
Costa Kufis.
I mean, incredibly talented player, but he just didn't do anything at Ohio State. I don't...
Yeah.
I mean, Bates Diop deserves to be on the roster. He's making... if you're putting together a 12, Bates Diop's going to make the 12 for sure.
Yeah. Deshaun Tate, another name.
Yeah, there's lots of good names. If we maybe were better prepared for this, we'd maybe put together a full 12, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're coming up at the end of the show.
Yep. That's it, Jared. That is all the questions.
All right, Kyle, I want to encourage everyone to come join the Discord server. Liddell. We totally forget about Liddell. Liddell is making the 12, but he's not in my starting 5.
Yeah.
I'd rather have JJ Sullinger on the court. But no, 100% Austin, he deserves a mention for sure. He's making the 12. I've all the confidence in the world that he's making the 12. I'd rather have Sullinger though.
Yeah.
I think Sullinger's just a better version.
Yep. All right, Jared. Let's go ahead and end today's episode, and we'll catch everybody next week.
Come join the Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. We're still active. Maybe not as active as we are during the football season, but we're still active in here. We're still having fun. Join the Patreon. You do get elevated access in the Discord server, although the Discord server is free. But there is elevated access in the Discord server if you're a patron. You get early access to episodes. You can join the live chat. But also just think about it this way. Especially like during the season, if you're consuming all of our content and we're providing several hours of entertainment to you, is that worth $3 a month?
I think so.
Just to sort of keep things going. You also get ad-free on the audio version of the podcast. You get your own personal podcast feed from Patreon, which you don't get those annoying Spreaker ads that sort of run at the beginning end, and there's that one in the middle. Those aren't there on your exclusive Patreon feed. So maybe that's worth $3 a month to you. Maybe the Discord part is worth $3 a month to you. Maybe just to help keep us going. Will help it keep things going for you. Maybe that's worth it to you. You also get to force Jared to go deep into the metaphysical. He's talking about our Patreon only episode called Sloopcats Only, also called Ask Shenanigans, also called The Shit Show. It's a hoot. Yeah, this week I drafted a team of Meyer Day era players against a team of Austin and Gangland who drafted the other team. That's a thing we did. Totally impromptu too. Like I hadn't planned on doing it. We were like 5 minutes into the episode and Austin was seriously like, "Hey, you want to draft a team against us?" I was like, "Sure, fuck it." Because that's what happens during the secret Sloopcast or Sloopcats only Patreon exclusive episode. And then we just did it. That's the sort of shenanigans you can expect on that. Which, by the way, that was so much fun that we're going to kind of revamp it and then eventually do it on the regular show. Which is this show. This is the regular Sloopcast show. So, yeah. That's it. So that's it. That's the show. Come join us. Do it for the exclusive episode. Do it for the Discord access. Do it with to avoid the ads. Do it just to support us. It's only $3 a month. The regular show was canceled years ago. Silly. I prefer to think that they just chose to end it because it ran its course. Thank you very much. Jared, can you play that folk band I ask for sometimes? Only if you can give me their name on the other side of Kyle's corner. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Nope, nothing much this week here.
That is fair. Kyle Stahl. Maybe try again next week, Austin. That or like really hurry up. All right, That's all the plugs I feel like doing. By the way, t-shirt store. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now from our 7071 store. I can't do this mirrored. This is seriously a struggle for me. Kyle's also Kyle, is that the Sloopcast version or the 7071 version? That's the 7071 version. Also from the 7071 store, Kyle is wearing right now. You can get a bunch of, it's like Ohio merch over at 7071.thesloopcast.com. If you want actual Sloopcast merch, then you can go to just merch.thesloopcast.com. So, with all that being said, Kyle, tonight's ending music, their name has like an animal in it. Not good enough. No, I'm trying. Show up prepared next time, Austin. I'm now trying to think for you based off of the animal, but I can't do it off the top of my head, not while talking. So we do have to go now. Tonight's ending music will be by the Raging Nathans. Oh, don't, Austin, that's fucking dirty. Don't do that. Tonight's ending music will be by the Raging Nathans. They're a punk band. God, Austin, that was dirty. They're a punk band out of the Dayton area, I do believe. So, with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer. Drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the Raging Nathans.